Okay, welcome to yet another episode of Night in the Woods. This would be day 10. I'd say this is probably the second main, part of the game where you get the whole searching for, the ghost and all that, and I would say it's pretty much when the plot starts, except for, man, I didn't realize this is like so late in the game that this point takes. Because, you've got, two investigations, a night with either B or Gregg. That's sort of a coda to their hangouts earlier in the game. And then you've got the finale, which, if you ask me, I'd say this game probably could have used a few more days. Either or. I'm glad that I don't know. Sorry, I'm just sort of like trying to figure things out in my head, because this is more, off the cuff, which is why this is pretty rambling, because, I'm trying to think of stuff to say for an entire hour for each of these. Which, let me just say, the amount of time that it takes to do one of these videos compared to my regular LPs, for my regular LPs, they're about 20 minutes each, so one of these videos takes up like 3 of those, in this one you kind of have to think a whole lot more, because there's a lot more to talk about. And yet, it's like, I'd say this game is about 15 minutes, or not 15 minutes, oh man, I wish, 15 hours long or so, if you do everything. I'd say with the individual B and Gregg material and the rest of the game combined, I'd say there's maybe 18 hours worth of content completed? No, probably not even. I'd say 15 hours seems about right. And this doesn't include the supplemental games, Longest Night, which takes about half an hour or so, and Lost Constellation, which is about hour or a bit more, maybe an hour and a half. I'd have to check the times on that one, but of course I haven't played through all of Demon Tower 4, Curse of the Blood Thief. After I'm done with this run, I think I'm going to do a bunch of videos on Demon Tower, and then I can finally put Night in the Woods to rest. Maybe, hopefully. Will I uninstall it from my computer? I probably should. Oh, this guy. Okay, so, he, you always kind of backtalks to May, but I mean, May kind of deserves it by just always running on his porch, but yeah, his commentary when they're, talking about music, and she's like, oh yeah, no, I'm kind of into it, and then, he starts kind of grilling her to make sure she's a quote-unquote, like, true fan of the genre, which I'm guessing sounds like bluegrass based off of the names of the people, but, as soon as she's just like, yeah, I'm not familiar with one of these, he completely dismisses May, and I see people do that a lot, and it really kind of bothers me, because if you're supposed to be a big fan of this kind of genre, or this band, or this fandom, or whatever, and someone says, hey, I'd like to be in this, and you try to do a loyalty check, it's like, one, step off, mister, and it's always mister. I mean, it would be nice the day when, equality comes to the point that, both genders are equally assholes, but in this particular case, it's almost always the men. Yeah, if someone's getting into a like a genre or something, and they don't know everything, of course they don't know. They're just getting into it. It's your job as someone who's been in that fandom or music or whatever to help show them where all of the good stuff is. If you like, hell, even if you like something like classic punk rock, and you find someone who's young and says, like, I like punk, and you say like the Ramones, and they respond with, I don't know what the Ramones are. Yeah, I'm not sure what that pause was for, unfortunately. I think I had to, like, click off the screen. Yeah, it's your job to show people where the good stuff is, Also, okay, one quick thing. Yeah, I walked over, and there's no one there. And at this point, May calls out to the teens to indicate that, she's going on a boat with this person, just in case this ends up being a one-way trip for her. But, yeah, no one's there. So I'd say probably needed to do something to fix that there, Alec and Scott and Bez, and probably a lot of other people. The only trio I can think of as, like, the people of Night in the Woods is, Scott Benson, Alec Holka, and Bez Salzman. I think Bez's husband's also involved in it, unless Bez's husband is Alec. They just have different last names. I don't know. Yes, of course you want the big axe. Yeah, I think in the first time I just grabbed the tennis racket and brought it back because I thought it was one of those things that, you're supposed to grab everything and bring it to them. So in this case, I am grabbing, like, all of the stuff I didn't the last time. So instead of the tennis racket, it's the axe. Not that it really does much different, but yeah. And yeah, as you can see here, the light is moving because if you swirl around your left stick, it changes direction of the light. What's interesting is, so in this game, you can control yourself by using either the stick or the D-pad. If you're using a controller, which I am, like if you use the D-pad, you're only regulated to like a certain fixed positions, whereas yeah, with the analog stick, you can do 360s all day, every day. Yeah, also what I'm fascinated is, okay, so the bugs are attracted to the light, so the bats are leaving because the bugs are attracted to the light. Wouldn't that mean the bugs are going to the light and then the bats would be going to the bugs which are at the light? Wouldn't you want to shut off the lamp while you're going by? I don't know. I'm not a tunnel scavenger person. It's kind of funny. I've been around for like 3.5 decades. I've known a lot of hunting type people, but can't really think of a time that I've ever had venison. I mean, I think I've had it in like a stew or something at a powwow or something like that. But yeah, as far as just straight venison steak or whatnot, can't really think I have. I know it's like musky and gamey and all that because unlike cattle, they actually kind of move around. So of course, people say, well, they kind of taste like pee, and it's like, well, no, they does taste like an acid, a lactic acid, which is put into the bloodstream when you exert yourself. But whatever. And we get the tail end of another story between May and the tunnel guy, who, pretty sure, we heard his name at the beginning, but yeah, his name doesn't really matter all that much, I guess. Spooky indeed. Yeah, so I guess tunnel trolleys or something like that. I never really understood what the underground was, because I mean, I guess it's a some kind of like subway or something like that, but I don't know. It's kind of weird. And yes, May doesn't care about sports anymore, which, yeah, considering her past, I can kind of understand. And no, I don't think a football helmet could stop a bullet. Uh, Unless it's very slow moving with very little kinetic energy behind it. Yeah, this exchange, I'm not sure if they're being sarcastic or not, but I guess they apologize afterwards. Yeah, I guess if you don't clear out the bats, you don't go to this third place. Um, so yeah, there's so many little mini games in this thing that you know, unlock all sorts of new other stuff. And yeah, this whole place does kind of look like, May's last dream, where everything is, full of water and fish, and there's town stuff kind of stacked haphazardly all over the place. But yeah, this whole place is kind of cool and eerie. Um, yeah, I got the lock the last time. Um, I think between the lock and the tuba, the lock is a bit cooler. Although the tuba does make a sound. I think she calls it like some kind of horn, I forgot which. We'll see real soon enough. Yeah, pack horn. Not exactly sure what a pack horn is. I could probably Google it, but I think I'll just keep calling it a tuba. Pack horn just might be another name for a tuba, I guess. And then here we get the other side of the mural from the tunnel, which, kind of cool looking. But, I mean, I think it means more to May because this is something that people haven't seen since the flood. Which, yeah, it just makes me wonder where, if anywhere, does this tunnel connect to? I mean, does it go around town? Does it connect to a different town? Is it like an underground moving rail from like the mines over to like the railway? I don't think so, because if that was the case, they wouldn't be using those, would look like personnel trolleys. They'd probably use something a bit more industrial to haul material around. So, yeah, I guess I'm just really confused about what this underground actually is. Maybe it's because I grew up, in a mountainous desert for so long. I don't understand what places like that kind of are. Or maybe I should look closer at that bronze plaque next time. So, yeah, you'll notice at this point I forgot to go into the church to, talk to Mom and do her special event that you can do today. I do remember to come back here, but yeah, you're gonna see me do some cutting because this video is already over an hour and you don't need to see me do a whole bunch of backtracking. Man, actually it would be kind of interesting to see what, how much of this game you can cut out as far as pointless walking goes. And here we get to see Jen, who seems to be a cousin of Gregg. And yep, now we get to know for sure that May went to Drukilsburg. And Jen lives over in Bright Harbor, which Gregg said he's planning on going to Bright Harbor with Angus soon. In fact, in the spring. So, yes, that would be bad. Yeah, I think at that point May is being incredibly possessive of Gregg. Gregg is a small bit of normalcy for May, and the fact that he's moving out with Angus does seem to absolutely terrify her. To which I have to say, poor May. I also notice you walk in front of the tree that the crossbow bolts are all on, and behind Jen. So you're walking in between the target and the person holding the weapon. So yeah, here at this point I should have gone into the church, but I didn't because I'm stupid. Don't worry, at least this whole thing doesn't last too terribly long. And yep, rats on the roofs. I think after you're done doing the Mallard quest line, rats do slowly become more and more prevalent in the town, which is kind of cool. It's interesting, the only time that May really has a major impact on the town is violently or, introducing a literal plague of rats. And yeah, Lori can totally understand being kind of ashamed of your early works, but at the same time, yeah, the short film that she's describing does sound absolutely fascinating, and it would be interesting to see it, or at least in the context of the game. But yeah, I guess we won't. And yeah, you can tell by the sudden absence of music, that was another time that I had to cut because real life happens. And I mean, at this point we're 25 minutes into the whole thing, and you know, there are people out there and they might want to say hi. Sorry B, I could have said hi, but you know, I guess I just wasn't up for it. And nope, we're not heading to the park just yet. We're gonna head to the park next time, because I want to get done with all of Gregg's stuff before we, you know, move on to all the rest of the stuff. So yeah, usually Angus kind of goes in at the end of the game. And here we get the fourth and final windmill. It's interesting. It's a mini game that deals with Angus's one, you know, hangout, and it's sort of the only way that you can learn a bit more about Angus, just because he gets to talk more about his time in Scouts, which seems to be, you know, one of the nice memories he has of childhood, probably because he was away from his family. And apparently the saxophonist is a woman cat, which I don't know. I guess I see the pompadour hair, and I kind of think more of a middle-aged guy with, you know, a plaid shirt and all that kind of stuff. But I guess, you know, anyone can wear that style of hair and wear that kind of clothes. That's perfectly up to them. And I mean, obviously this game doesn't really show much, you know, secondary sexual characteristics, you know. Which is fine. I'm certainly not expecting that in a game at all. In fact, the game probably is better for it not there. And yes, now with the door open, you get to talk to the guy with the newspaper a lot faster. Yes, and May is now interested in the yam riots. Yeah. Unfortunately, you've got, again, I think the game does a good job with those people to discuss the ideas of toxic masculinity without, you know, saying it as such, and it's not even shown as being like a violent or, you know, destructive thing, but the fact that neither of them can really talk about their feelings is what makes both of them kind of miserable. And because, you know, they can't communicate, they're having a bad time of things. Yeah, I can imagine macing a bird would not do it all that well. Of course, at the same time, I don't think it would be very easy to confuse mace with perfume, but I mean, what do I know? And yeah, you do get to hang out with Gregg a whole lot more with Gregg a whole lot more than with Lori or anyone else, which I guess is why he's considered sort of the fifth member of the ensemble. But I don't know. Germ is just sort of like I don't think I would think of him as a terrible person, but I don't think he would be someone I would actively try to hang out with outside of this game. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. And yeah, if he did something like that, even if he knew he was going to survive, I think I would have pretty much the same reaction as May. And yeah, apparently you just sort of hit down and jump in order to jump down there, which, yeah, I would think you would have to do the same thing as Germ did, which is get onto the, railing before doing that, but whatever. Yeah, May is very interestingly not particularly American stereotype of feminine. I guess most people would say she's more of a tomboy, but what is interesting is that the shirt that she's wearing, which she just said she wrote it because, the null sign looks, cool. I think some people have said that it's also often used as a symbol to describe either gender fluid or, I think gender fluid people. Maybe it's agendered people. People who aren't into the whole notion that, there's masculine and then there's feminine. I mean, most of that stuff is purely just, cultural. And if people want to be what they are and it's not hurting you, why do people put a huge thing into stopping those people? But, And yes, you probably shouldn't bring a possum home. That would probably be a bad idea. But yes, rabies is indeed Trash King. And then there's Germ fading back into the staircase. And at this point I cut all the way over to the church because I realized, oh crap, I forgot to do the hangout thing with Mom. When I first played this game, just live streaming it, I think I said not right now because I thought it would be one of those things that, ends the day on you. And I was like, oh, and, the people who are watching was like, no, you can you can do both. And at that point, you know, I was like, oh, okay, we can do something. And she was like, nope, nope, already said no, no backsies. So of course I was a sad. I wonder if this pops up if you don't talk to mom every single day. It would be interesting to see what the triggers in the game are. You know, there's obviously certain triggers like what day things happen and all that, but you know, if there's other flags that say, hey, you know, you've talked to this person this many times, so this event will be available. Um, yeah, poor May. And yeah, had to check out. Yep, apparently that's just a dip in the floor. Yeah, I can imagine that kind of jumping at one's age would be a little uh, much. Oh, poor Candy. Yeah, I'd say that that dream is kind of a feeling of being utterly stuck, which is kind of why when uh, May said, you know, maybe the reason why I dropped out is, you know, failing your ability to live vicariously through me because you never got to leave. You know, stung her quite a bit. But yes, Jenny's field. And then when we come back, I'm going to be walking right into the Snack Falcon. Yep, some more cuts because it's like only about a minute or so of travel time, but eh. And had to cut more time because we have more mini games. Because, yep, you can do some more light bulb smashing. So, yeah, replaying this, yep, the white tally marks in the middle are successful light bulb smashes on the dumpster there. The dark tally marks on the top of the dumpster are misses, and because I fail in this one, the red X marks on the bottom are times you get hit by Gregg's bottles and cans. Nearly missed that one. But managed to avoid that one. Yeah, I don't think I would be too big into having this much broken glass all over the place. But yep, there's a black tally mark. And then Gregg just keeps chucking cans, which I guess kills my opportunity to continue this mini game. But it means May is about to go and kick Gregg's ass. Probably because he deserves it. But yes. Now we're going to do some break-ins at the Historical Society. Which is a date night that had a little bit extra added in Weird Autumn. Well, not date night, but an event. He was given an extra mini game. Huzzah! Crimes indeed. It is kind of funny how, Gregg is super supportive of, May and her larcenic activities and the like, but as soon as she, tries to say that something is a ghost, he doesn't really entertain it. I think it's interesting because I think Gregg was the one that did the sound before Weird Autumn, and now that whole segment was given over to May. But yeah, this is a new little bit where you're given control of the flashlight and yeah, you're supposed to shine a light for Gregg so that he, knows what he's doing. And then every once in a while you hear a sound. A little rustling like that. Then you're like, what's that over there? And, you're kind of thinking, oh god, are we going to see a one of the cultists or anything like that? So, did Gregg just literally say WTF? Yeah, apparently, when asked about all of the poor Gregg. Poor Gregg indeed. But when asked about the language used in the game, they said, it's interesting, you can say shit as many times as you want and it'll be teen rated, but you cannot use the F word even once, which is why no one does in the game. And what's interesting is that the end of the game where Gregg does the symbol bleats, which I used to know the word for censoring words using, like pound sign and exclamation points and stuff like that. But yeah, that seems to have been removed. Probably not out of not like the ESRB probably was going after them for that, but probably more just like, yeah, it doesn't quite fit in the game. Although that was during a B run. Maybe it's different in a Gregg run? I guess we'll see. But yes, we have the Historical Society. Yeah, I thought, when seeing those stairs that, it would be something that eventually is used, sort of like a, means to escape while running away from the cultist. But nope, it's just a red herring. They put Chekhov's gun right on the wall, and then it's like, nope, you don't have to use it at all. Oh well. Find it funny how Gregg is perfectly open for trespassing, lockpicking, vandalism, and all that, but assault, even when defending yourself, is a little more than what Gregg can feels comfortable doing. Which, I mean, I can totally understand that. I don't think I would ever want to stab someone. Yeah, and here we get to learn more about the history of Possum Springs, and yeah, I think a lot of this, sort of deals with the whole Red Scare going on during like the 1920s and the like, which I guess makes sense. Insofar as all of the anti-communism and socialism mindset going around, coupled with what I pretty much am thinking that Mae Borowski's lineage is probably very Russian. So, and that this whole town seems to be very Eastern European based off of the, a lot of the foodstuffs and, how the place, or a lot of the foodstuffs, a lot of the names of the people who live here, like Mr. Chazikov, the Borowskis, etc., etc. Yeah, this place had a very Eastern European history, which is probably why, you had people like the National Guard being called on a strike really quickly because, it's damn Ruskies. Yeah, you've got, Mae Borowski, or Margaret Borowski, who, probably a Russian heritage. Gregory Lee, who, I'm not quite sure. And I think he's probably supposed to be Italian. but not terribly sure. Beatrice and Tello, who I think is definitely probably Spanish, based off of the name, and by Spanish, yeah, I'm probably meaning of Spain. And Angus, can't remember his last name, but I do know it probably starts with a Mac. Definitely very Scots-Irish. Very Scots-Irish. Definitely Scot, with a name like Angus. But yeah, this is cool, if not just a little bit creepy. Especially when things start moving around and you're just like, oh. Things are a little weird. And you're like, huh. And then you hear that. And you see that. Yeah, because I jumped, I missed the look box on that, but yeah, I think the response of that should have been immediate. You know, when they turned around, it just have been like, ah! But, whatever. Yep, since it's motion captured. Yeah, Gregg and May have this sort of honor amongst thieves relationship. Pretty sure neither of them would ever talk or rat out the other ever. I think they'd probably rather go to jail for each other. And then going down. Yep, this game sort of turns into an adventure game at some point. I'd like to see how much weird stuff you find in this area. But, well. And yes, this whole place is full of a lot of elevators. A very strange amount. It's not really kind of explained why there's so many elevators. Just sort of as a reality of the world, I guess. And yeah, that's I think the second time that Gregg mentions, you know, if he could break out of jail, so I think it's something that's probably been stuck in his mind for a long time. Wonder if he's got a relative who's in the pokey, as they say. And sorry if you caught the beginning of that, it's just desperately needed to blow my nose, otherwise I wouldn't be able to keep talking. Well, I mean I could keep talking, but it'd get more and more nasally. You know, I'd be talking like this the whole time. And you wouldn't like that. I wouldn't like that. And no, none of this makes sense at all. So, actually, I think one of the big questions what, um, or why this cult has such a huge fascination with the historical society. I mean, I know they're a whole big thing about, the past and going back to the glory days and stuff like that. Yeah, now's not the time to check your notebook there, May. But it just seems odd to me that this would be a base of operations, considering it's a very, well-trafficked area. But, I mean, obviously this attic isn't easily accessed. You've got to go into an off-limits basement and go through a locked elevator shaft. Here we get to see the painting of the black goat, which is, I guess, the main antagonist of the game. It's the thing the cultists worship, and it's what May claims is haunting her dreams. I guess I would have put some, more intense music here, but I think the silence works. And yeah, that is certainly freaky. Oh, come on. Hey, you've dropped more than that. I guess not on solid flat ground. Yep, Gregg has indeed had a busy night. Full of crimes. Yep, weird night indeed. Yeah, for claiming that May is out of shape, she certainly is able to move really, really well. Oh well, that's how games go. You've got to sometimes split up, reality and game mechanics. Although I think this game does do a pretty good job in putting game mechanics into its reality. And yep, since we did the whole tunnel thing, we get a bunch of souvenirs. And a grilled cheese sandwich sounds really tasty about now. I think I'm out of cheese, though. Ah, well. Yeah, poor May. Yeah. But yep, coconut monkey, the helmet, the tuba, and the axe. Ah, coconut monkey. Wonder if PC gamers still. Oh, I know it doesn't make demo discs anymore. What everybody uses Coconut Monkey for these days? Except for a bonus thing for MechWarrior Online. But yes, we get to the final dream of the game, which is a short one. May talking with the forest god, or god, or something. Yeah, whenever I did playthroughs of this, I actually kind of made it a point not to, voice the deities. Same with Lost Constellation alike, because I guess I figure my mere mortal tongue would not sit well with a divine being or something like that. And I guess it makes it more ominous that they aren't voiced. But yeah, does seem to be a giant cat thing. Yes, May sounds incredibly disappointed. She was hoping to get some enlightenment, but yep, there is none here, May. There is none here. Yeah, some people are wondering if this is May like doing astral projection and stuff like that. Yeah, a lot of people say that, her dreams affect the reality around her, but I'm not really seeing that. I mean, yeah, she learns about the musicians through the dreams before she's even heard of them, but that could just be like a random bit of information she learned as a 5-year-old or whatever that's brought up to her subconscious. But yes, we get the space fleas, which I guess are the true cause of everything terrible, or it's all in May's head, and this is just a mass hallucination, which would kind of make sense. So if this is a mass hallucination, why would everyone be hallucinating the same thing? Well, that's easy. A lot of times if everyone is in a state of perceptive susceptibility, the person who is the most persuasive can kind of guide the hallucination to their own means with everyone else. So, yeah, I'd say everyone is kind of all experiencing the same sort of, ideas. Because, yeah, everyone else sees the goat, she sees the fleas, all that kind of fun stuff. But yes, here we come to the end of another night in the woods. Have a good one.